welcome to the Let's Play Football podcast. Happy to be joined with Pete Bercich. I am Mike Sonntag, one of the co-publishers of Let's Play Football, and we're happy to have another show with you tonight to talk football and the other goings-on in the world of football and just the world in general. So, Peter, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. It's that time of year, right? It's the dog days of June. All the camps and OTAs and all that are over. Still, I guess the guys are still working out. I remember back in the day, it was usually the 4th of July. You get to go out and enjoy the 4th of July, and once the fireworks are over, you knew that starting July 5th until training camp starts, that's when the real heavy work gets going. So as much as you work out in the off season and train and do those things, the intensity really kicks in after the 4th of July. So we're not far away at all from the season starting. I mean, it's going to be here before you know it. And here we go. We get to see how the quarterback competition plays out. There's a lot more question marks and things to watch this year than normal.
You didn't have OTAs back when you played, did you?
Yeah, we did. We had about a week and a half
of
OTAs. Not everybody had to be there. We did have a mandatory mini camp. So you had mini camp in May, and that was kind of the start of the off season, meaning you got a little bit of running shape going into mini camp. And then in June, you'd come back for maybe 2 weeks, week and a half, and not everybody would be there for that, but it would be the younger guys and basically just practicing without pads on. So it's kind of what they do now, a little less formal. It definitely wasn't monitored the way it is now.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? They definitely weren't telling us to slow down or,
Sure.
quit bumping into each other so much, that kind of thing. But, yeah, it was around, but nowhere near. The big difference is we were able to work out wherever we wanted to. So wherever it was, you came back in. That's kind of what minicamp and OTAs were. They just check on you, make sure you're in shape, make sure you're trending in the right direction. Nowadays, they're there. I mean, they've been there for I don't know how many weeks leading into OTAs, and they're meeting, and so they're there. Football's all year round for these guys. It's not as intense in training camp as it used to be, but their off season is much more involved than ours ever was.
Just mentally and everything, right? I mean, they're in the books, expected to be in the books, play books.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're meeting for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day after lifting. So, and they're I don't know really what they're covering the entire time, but trying to get the young guys up to speed. So they spend much more time in the classroom and together as a group than we ever did in the off season.
Do you wish you had more of that, or was it the right mix, if you will?
I don't know. You would have to, in exchange for the way training camp goes and is now, it might just be worth it.
Yeah.
Right. Training camp back in the day was that bad. Going to Mankato, pads twice a day, combined practices, 4 preseason games. I mean, training camp was legit. And Denny Green was actually pretty fair. He wasn't as bad as a Belichick was, or some of the other guys that are out there, who beat guys up constantly. So yeah, I'd have to go through a training camp to see if it was worth it, because it was nice to have an off season. It was nice to be away or have the the option. You could stay and work out in Minnesota, but they had the option to go do it wherever you live or wanted to live, instead of having to be up in Minnesota all year round.
Sure. Well, I mean, this is a good topic, and I actually want to touch on it more, bring it back to even the high school level, in a couple minutes. But I thought we'd go and rewind a little bit. The second really official girls' flag season just wrapped up about 2 weeks ago. The Rosemount Irish beat Rogers in the championship game. I think the score was 45-12. Last year, Let's Play Football did a feature on, actually 2 video features on girls' flag, and Talia Vesio and Taylor Craig, who I think she's got some connection to Dave Craig, the old quarterback. Okay. I believe. I could be wrong on that, but she's got some football connections. we featured them last year, so it's kind of neat to see them pull off the championship this year. Kudos really to all the girls and the coaches and the Vikings who organize. Still not a recognized and sanctioned state high school league sport at this point, so they're still playing their games on Sundays and having practices in the mornings, sometimes 6 a.m. at school to even 8 o'clock at night after softball or lacrosse or track is over. I think it's going to be interesting when they get to a point where once they are sanctioned, what's a girl going to do? Is she going to have to choose? If she's grown up playing
Right.
softball all her life, right? Then now maybe she's fallen in love with girls flag, which is clearly taking off in popularity with the Olympics right around the corner.
Well, it's kind of a good. It's kind of a good problem. I mean, for the girls that just have more sports than they just have a lot of options. You have flag football, and then you'll have hockey in the fall. You'll have
Yep.
basketball, and then softball, and I mean, that's it's they're gonna be just like the boys. Just too much to do in too little time. Don't forget volleyball's thrown in there too.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So there's there are just a lot of options, and I know that's a big challenge for parents, is just how do you maneuver and how do you get through all those different clubs and all those different sports. I mean, and they'll pull you in a million directions and try to eat up all of your time. So
365,
yeah,
you're right.
there's a lot of management that needs to go into that. And this is a topic we'll get into, I'm sure, eventually. But just what's best for the kid? What's best? What do you guys? What does the family really want to get out of the sport?
Yeah.
So, but glad to see the flag football is taking off.
Where do you see it going? I mean, you're in the professional circles, obviously much more than I am, but my connections with the Vikings, they are invested, into girls
Yes,
flag, and
big time.
it's really kind of impressive, and it's not a minimal amount of resources or people. It is legitimately trying to grow the popularity of the sport, which has that effect, right? Where long term, the girl that maybe just didn't really follow a football game, be it high school, college, whatever, now sits down every week because she sees Justin Jefferson doing a ad,
Right.
during a timeout or something, with a bunch of girls running around playing flag football. I think it's pretty impressive. Where do you see it going?
How will it be a paid spectator sport down the road? I guess that's the far end of it.
Sure.
I don't know if it'll ever get to that. What it does do, though, is it allows girls to learn and see and watch the sport differently. You're creating a different type of fan of the game when you're able to go out and play it. Right?
Yeah.
There's a different level of appreciation. There's a different level of watching. And one of the articles I wrote for Let's Play Football just kind of went into that, about the myriad of levels that you can watch football. And I think it's more so than baseball. Baseball is very situational.
Sure.
But football, you could just want to see it for the violence, the hits, that kind of thing. You could watch it for just wanting to know, like at our level, when we sit in the booth and the different levels that we're watching, and how does a coach manage the game, strategy, what our defense is doing, what our offense is doing, how are guys being used, where are they being put. There's just a million different things. That's why they spend so much time watching film during the week to try to figure out their upcoming opponent. But going through all of that and being part of it, I think, is really really fantastic, because you create a more engaged fan, I think, when you actually been out there and been able to play. And I think you appreciate what these professionals can do when you try to go out there and do it yourself, because it's not easy. It's much easier said than done. And I think that's the big part of it, is to appeal to a base that women have watched football for a long time, but we're creating a whole generation now of fans of the game that are going to be fans at a completely different level, a much higher level. And I think that's just great. That's just great for the sport, and it's great for everybody who goes through it, because playing football, I think is good for everyone to do. Yeah, are there some risks? Absolutely, but I think overall, the benefits outweigh
Outweigh
any
the
type of
risks. Yeah,
risk.
yeah. Well, it's funny. I was kind of just going through football reels, and the world has changed technology, right? I mean, these athletes, whether it's for flag football, whether it's for fall tackle football, you name it, there are training options online galore. Happened to find one today that was just called the 5 moves to avoid getting your flag pulled in flag football, since we're on the topic. And they showed examples. One was the dip. I
Yeah,
kind of watched that and thought, if I tried that, I think I'd lose a knee within the fifth attempt, right? Then you
right.
had the cross behind juke. Okay, be kind of quick on your toes. The one I like though is the step back. Think like Tom Cruise and Top Gun, right? I'm gonna
Yeah,
hit the brakes and they're gonna fly right by. That was
right.
pretty good. Then you had the half spin to karaoke, and then the last one is just afterburners sprinting down. But once I watched that reel, Pete, I must have saw 15 different training videos just for girls flag football, and it's in its infancy. So I think the sky's the limit for what the talent could become.
Yeah.
Like you said, it would be interesting to see what kind of following it
Well,
gets.
the competitiveness is there, Mike.
Yep, yep,
That's the great part is you go out there and it's a team sport, so it's a very highly competitive team sport, and that's that atmosphere is great. I think for all kids, and I know I have 3 kids. My daughter, my middle child, my daughter was hockey player, captain of
yep.
her the Holy Angels hockey team when she was there. Also played a lot of soccer, and I think personally, I think my daughter benefited more from team sports than my boys did,
Interesting.
and there are a number of reasons for that. But you get that competitive atmosphere, and I love it because now the coaching is going to matter, right? You're going to have flag football specialists that are
Yeah,
coaching,
yeah,
right, and
yeah.
and teaching these moves and all the different. I mean, the schemes are going to be completely different and all that. And so as we're watching this thing grow, you're going to start seeing some figures emerge from different areas, right? Whether it's from Lakeville or it's from wherever
Yeah.
that you're going to get these coaches and these staffs and these groups that know how to develop and coach and scheme, and there's going to be a lot of success. So, yeah, welcome to competitive sports.
And it's good for him. I think it's good for him. Talking just in general, we just passed the summer solstice, like you talked about when we opened up.
Days are getting shorter.
The days are getting shorter. Yeah, how depressing, right? But tonight we've got World Cup on TV. You've got a baseball game on, and the NBA's got their draft. I was driving down the road. I saw all these camps at the schools, like you talk about. Lacrosse has camps, soccer. I just thought it was a topic we could talk about a little bit tonight, of just the what's too much. And we've already kind of been touching on it here for the last few minutes, but when you and I were in the throes of it, our era, it was just kind of your sport was your season, right? If it
Right.
was fall, you were playing football or soccer, or really it was those two. There wasn't even a whole lot of fall baseball. Then you rolled into winter, you had basketball, you had hockey, and then certainly you came into spring, and lacrosse really hadn't hit the Midwest, I don't think, during our time, but baseball was huge. You have track and field, softball for the girls. Again, I missed volleyball back in the fall for the girls, but now there's really no break. I mean, school ended for most of these athletes a week or two ago, and there they were today. I wanted to talk about a little bit with you, just because I think it's interesting, because we can touch on it from a couple different perspectives. As former athletes a long time ago, right? It was what we just talked about. The season was our sport. You've got the 3 kids. I have 2 boys. They're already out of it, but boy, I mean, it was really getting to be a year-round thing. There was no breaks. You couldn't tell them to go get a job to pay in the summer because then they were missing out on this camp or that camp.
Right.
When we coach football together, Pete, where does football fit in? Because the state high school, they gave us 2 weeks during the summer to try to install offenses, defenses, whatever, but we're also trying to promote multi-sport athletes, and in doing that, a lot of times you're playing baseball in June and July, so you might not get that quarterback per se out there.
Right.
So then we're coaching a group of kids, teaching them stuff, only to show up at, the second week of August, and you're really starting over again, even though you feel
Right.
like you got a lot accomplished. Just want your take on really kind of what's going on in the general. Are we over? When I bring up the World Cup, the NBA draft, baseball, there's just always something going on.
Yeah, there is. There always is, and that's. I think the main thing is to as a parent is to know your why. Okay, meaning this. I understand this summer because you work and you need, the kids need stuff to do. Athletic camps are just like anything else. It gives the kids something to do during
Sure.
the day. If that's the goal is, let them get out, run around outside, do those kinds of things. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that kind of a situation where you just keep them busy, right?
Sure.
You just keep them busy,
Right.
give them something to do.
Right.
And then you have once you start getting up in the higher levels, I think one of the things that you have to really, really watch is the desire of the athlete himself or herself. Meaning this, you as a parent know effort, right? You know when they're giving it everything they've got, and you have to protect them, I think, mentally. As a parent, you got to protect them mentally and you got to protect them physically. Physically, I think, is a little bit easier to identify sometimes when it's just overuse, overwork.
Yeah.
And that part of it, I think, is much more relevant today than it was years ago. Meaning, if you have a 12-year-old kid who is very, very good at baseball or very, very good at softball or whatever, there will be teams and people and groups asking for your child to play for them, and your kid could play 6 games on the weekend and 5 games during the week. They could play an absolute half to 3/4 of a Major League Baseball schedule throughout
Right.
the year. Major
Right.
Leagues, they only play 80. They play 162 games.
Right.
I guarantee you, there are kids out there playing more than 80 games of baseball in the summer.
Yeah.
So you have to protect them physically from working too much, because when kids develop, the ones that develop quickly and show promise at a young age, they're going to get pulled in a million different directions.
Right.
And the main thing is to watch them. We talked about effort, but mentally with them to protect from burnout. They have to like what they're doing. They have to enjoy what they're doing.
Right.
And I mean, I'll just take it to the nth degree. When you talk about Major League Baseball, you're talking about the NFL. The physical part, everybody at that level is gifted. It's the mental part that separates everybody at that level, right? There are some people that are just unbelievably talented. The Randy Mosses, the Randall McDaniels of the world, who are just freaks.
Yeah.
But mentally, that's what keeps a lot of people from making it at the professional level. And it requires especially in sports like baseball or basketball, an intensity that you can turn on and turn off, right? It's game time, you turn it on, you go when the game's up, and because you have to have some type of a balance. And when kids are teenagers, I don't think they have that developed. And you could just run them into the ground. They could just
Right.
play and play and play and play. So keep an eye out for that. That's where variety kind of comes in. It's baseball, and all of a sudden you're done with baseball and you go to football. If they're talented enough to play at the next level in any one of these sports, you'll know. Yeah. You'll know. And the people that are out there will identify it, and you'll know. And what's amazing is once they start recruiting, what do they care about? They care about school, right? They care about character. They care about all these grades, all these other things that have nothing to do with your height, weight, speed, and everything else. Yeah, it's such a pull, man. I mean, it's a pull on your wallet. It's a pull on people on vacations. You know, you just you're traveling all over the country for tournaments and different things like that. It's crazy. You see private equity getting into it. You know, there's money to be made. Yeah, it really makes you want to tap the brakes on some of it and be like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we doing this for the kids? Are we doing what's in their best interest?
Or
are we
the
just
parent trying to live
thing
through their kid because they maybe didn't experience,
of course.
their time, right?
Yeah, there's always that, and as a parent, you just don't want your kids to make the same mistakes that you made, right? And to me, again, that always goes with to effort. And I remember when we were together at Hill Murray, that was one of the things I told the parents is you may not know football, you may not know all the ins and outs of the game, but you know when your kid is trying hard and when your kid is not.
Yeah.
So coach that one thing. I never heard, my dad played in the NFL. I never heard from him, you know, if you see this, do this, and do, you know, all the football. It was just when the game was over, if I gave it everything I had, he was fine, regardless, win, lose, or draw. But if I didn't, if I was taking plays off, oh my God, I would hear about it, right?
Yeah, right.
So that was the sole focus that he had for me, and I think it should be the main focus for parents to keep an eye on that. And if you see your kid drifting, it's maybe it's because they're playing 60 games of football, and then in the afternoon they're running over to the football field, and it's just too much.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's kind of a note to say maybe you got to pull back here or pull back there, and it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even trying to make this a controversial topic, but I think to a point it is, right? Is it healthy for these kids? Are they being overworked? Everything we've touched on. Whose dream is it, right? And you talk about how your dad talked to you, having had the experience. I didn't play hockey, but my kids grew up in the state of hockey in Minnesota, right? And I'd pick them up after a practice or a game, and it drove them crazy because all I would ask them is what the coaches say. Dad, why do you always? Well, because you're not going to hear me tell you how to play. I'm curious what they said, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's a need for that more because
you have right. The car ride home is dangerous because you as a parent, you see things differently, right? And you have thoughts, but the thoughts that you have, even though they might be right, they don't need necessarily be echoed to the player who's sitting behind you.
Yep.
Right. And
coach said this, dad said that, which
correct. Because now, it breaks down the authority of the whole thing when the kid knows, I don't care, it doesn't matter what the coach says, it's all about what my parents say on the ride home. That's all that matters. Now it's like, okay, fine, whatever, maybe that's the case. But at some point, that attitude, looking at sports that way is going to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
Right. And
agreed.
At some level, maybe junior high, maybe it's high school. Definitely if you get to college, because your parents aren't there to complain, talk to you anymore. It's a dangerous precedent. But for parents, you're so damn frustrated too after games sometimes. Sometimes you can't go back to what's your why, what are we doing here, what matters, right? Physical well-being of the kid is number one. Right. Then number two is the mental part. Some kids are just wired to do this. Some kids will do this 24/7. You never have to tell them anything. They just go. Go. And then you have others that drift or, they just don't have that same level of focus week in and week out. And those are the ones that you have to work with them. Change the scenery, man. Whatever that is. But just keep an eye on that.
Last thought on the topic: when you coached and when we were at Hill Murray together, and I'm not looking for obviously names or anything other than your experience as a coach. How was there too much parental involvement? Was there a just right amount? Were you able to just shut it out? Because it's got to be trying on the head coach when you're just trying to put the best team on the field and give each kid the best opportunity
Yeah.
to succeed. But you've got three dads who think that their kid's the best linebacker or the best quarterback or running back. Sorry, we can only play one at that position or whatever. Was that,
Right.
how did that go for you? Just your experience.
That's probably the hardest part of the job, right? I will say this: if if I had a kid who was good, he was going to be on the field some capacity.
Right.
He may not be exactly in the position that he wants to be, but he's going to be out there. So they're definitely going to find a place for him. The not a lot of guys. There are a lot of guys who play certain positions in high school and then play different ones in college and maybe even different ones in the NFL. So it's not a death sentence per se. It's it is tough, and then it goes back to what again what the kids want, and then when you have parents that are they want their kid to play a specific position. Sometimes it's just not. I guess what you're doing is you're forcing it to be at a professional level, because at a professional level it's like, okay, this guy's better than this guy, that guy starts, this guy, you either find somewhere else to play or else you're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And at the high school level, it's not what that's about. It's about just working together. You find the best 11 guys you got, you find a spot for them, and here we go, let's go. And that's, they force your hand, I guess, in that regard, Mike. It's not the most fun part of it. And the other problem that you have as a high school coach too is you depend on the parents for the program's survival.
Right.
If without the help of the parents financially, their time, their volunteering, their support, the booster clubs and all that,
Team
the
dinners,
team
right?
wouldn't be able to operate the way it does. And so you're dependent upon their support. And then at the same time, you have a responsibility to win. You have a responsibility to put out the best team that you can. And sometimes that always doesn't, that doesn't always match up. So it can be a very tough road to maneuver.
Your experience as a high school player, college player, pro player, would you rank them 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3? I mean, what are your best memories ultimately?
High school was great. Because you didn't know what you didn't know, and you're just out there playing, right? It wasn't live or die. And once the game was over, you went on with your life, and you went back to school, and blah blah blah. For me, college was it was unique. I went to college to work. I mean, I just went to class and played football, and that was it.
Sure.
I got out of there with my degree in 3.5 years, in an environment under Lou Holtz that was unbelievably pressure filled, meaning you didn't know every single day you walked on that field, it could have been your last as a starter. You just didn't know. And it was all about what have you done? What the win? What's important now? Well, how did you practice? So you just had that pressure all the time. So I enjoyed the NFL much more. Even though it was every bit, it was more competitive, but you were treated like a man, right? You were given responsibility. You had to do it yourself, and that resonated with me. And playing for Denny Green, it absolutely resonated with how he ran things, and it was so. It's one thing it's one thing to I won a state title in college. We made it to, we finished second in the in the rankings in college. So we didn't win a national title, but we played in some unbelievably big games.
You mean
And
like this one?
yeah, like that one. That was the Florida State game. It's Jim Flanagan right there.
That
So
was
that's when we that's
in
in
November 2nd, 1993. How are we
Yep,
doing?
we were number two, they were number one, and it
Yeah,
flipped after that game. But to make it in the NFL is a whole nother level,
right.
right? To be a professional is a whole different level, and it's so much more rewarding. So the pressures there and all that, it's a much more intense game. The whole thing, your body, I mean, the whole bit. But that experience, the NFL experience, with the teammates that I have, it was way up there. College was a tough 4 years.
Interesting. Let's stay on the NFL a little bit as we wrap up here. Mention the World Cup. We're talking football versus football here a little bit.
What's your deal with the World Cup? What do you got? It's like
What do you mean?
you keep
What,
bringing up
that
the
I'm
World
bringing it
Cup.
up on a football podcast?
Are you a soccer fan now, or what?
No, I'm appreciating the passion for it. I'll go that far. But that's kind of what I want to talk about. Obviously football, soccer is considered the most popular sport across the world, right? And
Yeah.
it's just had me thinking, and I thought I'd bring it up in a conversation with you. Just the amount of games now the NFL is doing internationally. And you've been involved now in a few in London and last year in
5.
Ireland, 5 total.
I think we
right?
played. Yeah, I think we've been there 5 times now.
Okay. And last year that you were there for 2 weeks, 2 full weeks, right?
Well, yeah, about a week and a half. Flew out
Yeah.
on Thursday, played in Ireland on Sunday, and then played the following Sunday in London. Yeah.
But is the NFL, I mean, what's the long-term goal from your perspective with these international
Yeah.
games?
I think the commissioner's kind of made it. He's brought it up, and I think the goal of the NFL is to have an 18-game season, 2 preseason games, maybe throw an extra bye in there, and play one. Every team plays one international game every season.
Okay.
I think that's kind of that's the long term goal, because the NFL is looking. You're looking for growth, right? And where is that growth? Where is it? Is it in the United States? Well, you have flag football to help with the girls and getting young women who are much more into football. And then there's the international crowd. I mean, soccer is most popular because you just need a ball and a net, right? And you can play it anywhere.
Yeah.
Football is a completely different animal, right?
Right.
So that has to be nurtured and brought in and developed, and there's a lot to it when you're doing these international games. But I think that's the long term vision of the NFL, is to have an 18-game season, and then everybody plays one international game. The teams are, the teams they've kind of cut up the world, and so the Chargers are going to be in Australia to start off the season this year. We're going to be down in Mexico, so you're as a visiting team, but you're just building that. You're building that international interest, right? It's just a little bit at a time. One game, in London they get 4 or 5 games a year now, but they're just starting to get that out there. Germany will be a place. Saints are going to play in France this year, so it's the list of countries is growing, and yeah, it's going to be. And then teams are going to have to learn how to navigate that, right? The international games. I think that's one of the things with the Vikings being on the leading edge of this is the experience that you have. When you go to London and you're playing a team that may not have been there in 5 years or had been there before or under a different regime. Think of from getting the equipment there to what do you need and how do you set up the meeting rooms and what information do you bring? The whole thing, nutrition, all of that is a huge undertaking, and the Vikings are, I think, on the leading edge of that. because of the experience that they've had doing it now for the last 10 years.
Right, right. But no long term. You don't see a Frankfurt team and a London
No,
and
I don't.
a
I don't. I
Paris,
don't. I don't
kind of
see a
a four-team
team.
division in Europe.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know how they would work that out unless the team had a place in the United States to maybe practice. Yeah, it would be tough. It
Yeah.
would be a tough one. I know it was interesting when we were out there from Ireland to London because we had to activate someone. And I remember Brian O'Neill was injured, and so they had a space on the roster to open up, and you had to fly. You had to whoever it was that
That's
we
right.
signed, we flew him out there, and then he had to pass a physical once he got to London. So if he failed that physical, he'd have been on a flight boom, all the way back. So there's some hurdles to being overseas all the time, and that's why I just don't know if they'll keep a team full time in Europe.
Makes sense. I just interests me to just kind of get the perspective of is the NFL trying to be number one, try to get to number one? Obviously, professionally, I think it's the number one profession in the United States as far as popularity. It's year round. The way they've magnificently baked the draft into April and then the schedule release in May, and everything has become just a build up to the next thing, and then the coverage of OTAs and early June, and of course we get to talk about ad nauseum. I think every day I see clickbait on JJ McCarthy's being traded, trade options, whatever. And I mean, I don't think you see it, I see it, but it's just the NFL is what we talk about around here, even in the state of hockey. And I think it's great, but as I sparingly follow the World Cup soccer, I am somewhat impressed by just the following and how these countries have brought all these people here. It's impressive.
I've had the opportunity to go to a Premier League game at Arsenal, which is just.
Was that why you were over there with the Vikings, or was that?
I got to see the Arsenal game. This is when we went to Kuwait to cook for the troops. And on our way back, we stopped in London, and we were able to go to an Arsenal game. And I also got a chance to see an Aston Villa game. So up in Birmingham, PA, and I jumped on a train with a bunch of Man City fans because it was Villa versus Man City, and the Man City fans were singing in the train the whole way up there. It was one of the most it was so crazy and fun.
That's awesome.
And then Villa pulled out a surprise underdog victory. Brad Guzan, who was the keeper at the time for Villa, went to my high school. He's younger than I had never met him, but my best friend, who's the athletic director at my high school, got us in touch. Anyway, he got us tickets, and it's just one of the coolest things. The way they do it, there's nothing quite like it, and that's where the NFL is unique. Mike is the NFL. I've been to NASCAR, I've been to NBA, NHL, I've been to as many professional. PGA. I've been to as many professional sporting events as I possibly can go to. The only one that's as good on TV at home as it is being there is football.
Yeah.
The NFL.
Yeah.
That's the advantage, right? You talk about being number one. Well, how about, I think the number one is like number one in what? And I think revenue is what the NFL is interested in. And they've got the sport that is designed for it, with the timeouts and with everything else. And it is as good, if not better, at home watching it because you get the replays and you get everything else. And you get the red zone on the other side so you can watch all the other games. It's pretty compelling, most compelling sport, because watching even Premier League on TV is okay. It's good. It's okay. But, you watch Formula One on TV, and then you actually go to a race. It's a complete. NASCAR is the same way. Like auto racing it's unbelievable, the difference.
Right.
Baseball is the same way, right? All the sports, I think, suffer a little bit from broadcast, except for the NFL.
Interesting take. I guess never given it much thought to that, but you're right. I mean, you're seeing everything kind of in front of you. Where baseball, you're not seeing the right fielder when you're, the cameras behind the pitcher on the mound and whatnot, and what the right fielder might be doing when a play's over here. I've never given
Right.
that
Where
thought.
they're
So,
shifting. I mean, there's,
yeah.
and that, those are the levels of the game that, we talk about girls flag and football, that they're understanding different levels. There's so many levels to baseball the same way that you just don't get watching it on TV.
Right.
So it, is what it is.
Right. Well, good segue to our closing. You mentioned it earlier, but I actually pulled out, and this is for all our followers here. Pete is a Let's Play Football contributor, and he did write a story about how to watch football, and I read it again tonight. I thought it was fantastic, but the way you ended it was fantastic. You talked about you can follow the ball, the easy stuff, personnel, knowing formations, down and distance, field position, but you closed with where's Waldo. So I'm going to read the last couple paragraphs because I think it's such a interesting take to any casual football observer who thinks that they become an expert. So, know who is the best player on the opposing team and find him every play. Know where he normally lines up and how they use him. If you look and he isn't where he normally is, know he is most likely getting the football. Then there's the clock, score differential, weather conditions, rules, the list grows. Understand none of this is easy and it can't all be watched by one person. NFL teams will have 20 plus sets of coaches' eyes on each play. Yes, that many. Once you get a good feel for what all the above means, then congratulations, you are now qualified to criticize the play callers. Good luck. I think it's accurate, right? I mean, we all become experts, and why is J.J. McCarthy the quarterback? Why isn't Kyler Murray?
Right. Why did you do that? Why did you run the ball here? And why did you do that?
Right.
It's like, well, number one, it's hindsight. Number two, you're like, well, you have no idea. And I guess that was the most frustrating part of being a coach. And I remember even with the Vikings, and I'm trying to remember our running back's name, the kid from Wisconsin that we drafted. Oh my God, I can't remember his name.
No, it's happening.
Pardon me.
I said it's happening. We can't remember.
I know. Well, yeah, I've been hitting the head a lot.
Wisconsin.
I've broken a lot of wedges. So
Not Montgomery.
No. Mike. I'm trying to remember his last name. Drafted him he's a running back he went to the University of Wisconsin back in 2000s.
Boy, I know it's not Allstott because he was pretty...
No. The Vikings drafted.
I don't know. Anyway, Mike.
Anyway, the problem...
Mike the running back.
Yeah, and Michael Bennett. There you go. So Michael Bennett. And I remember we had a game, and then you're driving home, and for some reason you put on K-Fan and you listen to the fan line.
Right.
And you've got fans that jump on and they're just like, Michael Bennett, why is Mo Williams in the backfield on third down? Why isn't Michael Bennett in there? You can throw him the ball. He's so fast. He's this, he's all that. And you look at the radio and you yell at the radio and you're going, we tried that all week long in practice. Michael Bennett just couldn't handle the protections mentally yet. Right? Just too young.
Right.
So Mo Williams, somebody you can trust, you had to put back there. So for the fans, they think we're idiots because you're just saying, why isn't Michael Bennett back there? He's so good. He's so fast. Why is he not in there on third down? It's so obvious what the problem is. It's like, I can't, and you can't tell not the truth, but you can't, say what it really is, because as a coach, you can't go out there and throw somebody under a bus like that. You can sit down with them one-on-one and say, hey, listen, you need to get your head out of your rear end and get yourself on third down. Right. We need you in protection. We need your ass on the field. So you better get in your playbook, blah, 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 blah. But that's one of the most frustrating parts. And that's what I always keep in the back of my mind whenever you really want to jump on a coach and criticize him. Say, why wasn't this guy doing this? And why did you put this guy in this position? They can't tell you. Right. They just can't. They're
protecting their players. They're
protecting the team.
Sure.
They're protecting the team, right? You can't that level of honesty that's a one-on-one conversation. Right? It's not one to be had out in public. It's a one-on-one conversation. So when you have someone who you need on third down, You can. I guess the only thing you can hope is that Michael Bennett listened and heard the same thing on the way home, and heard a fan say you should be on the field in third down, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I agree, and I need to do what I have to do to get myself good enough so I can be out there on third down." Right, and I'm just bringing Michael Bennett up because that's the one thing that stands out in my mind. I think it's 20-some years ago, so it's safe to bring up.
Who's our guest
Yeah,
in the
so
back?
it's another wrinkle in the dog pile of what you want to criticize people about, and that's why they pay coaches so much money now.
But history has shown certain coaches have a breaking point. We had Coach Uncle Bernsey.
Yeah.
He was as honest as anyone's ever going to be in a post-game
You know what,
interview.
Mike? I'm glad you brought that up because kids, I mean, younger kids these days don't know, especially when I mean, even in Minnesota. But oh my God, you know what? You got to listen. You got to listen to Coach Burns' post-game speech. This is how it used to be,
Right.
right? You see everybody now; they're so polished and it's so whatever, and you're like, let's go back in time.
That's right. You want honesty? I'll give you honesty. Meet Jerry Burns.
Exactly.
Right.
And that was that's just gold. That needs to be archived. I'm sure it is. I mean,
Oh yeah, it is.
it's like
It seems like every anniversary it pops up somewhere. But you want to talk about something that was viral before the term viral, when it came to any sort of video was ever out there. That was, and then we had the local radio station, KQRS, did their own version of the Coach Uncle Bernsey bedtime stories, and you can find
Yes.
that on YouTube.
oh
I could recite them. They're that
yeah,
good.
those were the days, man.
Yeah. So, well, listen, sir, we're going to be celebrating 250 years of our great country here in a couple weeks, the 4th of July. Got any big plans?
My stepson's going to Ole Miss, so we're going to be heading down there for a few days right before. But other than that, not much. Just kind of just relax. Again, I talked about the 4th of July earlier, but I can look up and appreciate the fireworks now because I know that come July 5th, I don't have to
Yeah.
start
It's not-
grinding
it's
myself
not
to a
game
nub
up. Yeah.
working
Yeah.
out.
Ole Miss. Well, that's exciting. Hottie toddy.
Hotty toddy. I don't know what that means, what it is, but I guess I'll find out.
Well, a quick story on that is about 2 years ago, had a neighbor friend whose son was going there, and another friend gave him a card and got a thank you, and it said Hottie Toddy in it. And my friend approached me and he's like, isn't that a little, thinking highly of yourself? And I'm like, it's interesting. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe that's how the girls felt about him in school, and then come back a year later, find out that that's their saying,
bit.
like roll tide, whatever.
Yeah,
So
that's their bit.
learn something new every day, Pete. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining again, bud. I
Yeah.
always enjoy talking to you, and look forward to doing this again. I believe we're slated for a couple weeks, maybe the week after the 4th. We've got one of the Gopher assistants lined up to talk to us, Danny Collins. So looking forward to having him.
And
Yeah.
I think it's a decent outline on what we want to do with this, and what the reason we're doing this is just to create awareness and to help parents and to help young athletes.
Right.
Just how do you navigate what's in front of you, because it is absolutely overwhelming. It's overwhelming financially. It is for the parents. It's overwhelming from a time standpoint for the parents and for the kids.
Right.
And what do we do here? What's best for everybody? And it's not, unfortunately, an easy answer
Right.
or a simple answer.
You're right. Well, enjoy your 4th.
You too, man.
All right, bud.
All right, see you.
Take care.